It's springtime. That means it's baseball in Southwest Georgia. We'll talk with Schley County head coach Chuck Cheek right after this on the Integrity Sports Podcast.
Welcome to the Integrity Sports Podcast, covering local sports in the Southwest Georgia area, creating content that is factual, positive, and informative, promoting efforts by athletes, coaches, sports administrators, and sports personalities. Thanks for making the Integrity Sports Podcast a part of your weekly routine. Now here's your host, Tim Estes.
Hello and welcome into the Integrity Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Tim Estes. We'd like to start by thanking our friends over at Harper's Tree and Stump Removal. They've been our sponsor since day one. If you have any tree trimming, tree removal, or stump removal needs, Harper's Tree and Stump Removal has you covered. Give Keith a call at 229-314-2048 or at 229-938-2412. Thanks to Harper's Tree and Stump Removal for sponsoring this segment of the Integrity Sports Podcast. As I do every year at this time, I always try to get all of our high school baseball coaches on to give us a preview of their team. We're starting this year with my good friend, Coach Chuck Cheek from up at Schley County. Coach, thank you for joining me.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you having me.
Chuck, it's not a secret anymore. Schley County's been a good program for many, many years. Give me an outlook on the 2026 team. I know as we record this, you guys are 6-4 right now, but tell me a little bit about your 2026 squad.
You know, Tim, we've done this podcast a few times now, and I feel like I'm repeating myself. I don't really know who we are yet. We're a little Jekyll and Hyde, which I think there's a bunch of teams that are like that. I've got a lot of friends that coach around the state, and they're complaining about the same issues I'm complaining about. We're all striving for some consistency. I really like our team. Like I will lead with that. Like I really like our team. We've had some adversity early. Some of that has nothing to do with us. It's just, you know, we have three key components to our team that played basketball, and we're a small school. You know, our guys have to play. I want our guys to play multiple sports, but in that there's some missed at bats. There's some missed live action that goes on in the preseason for us, because they're on the basketball court. And so we got a few guys that are a little bit behind, but it's also presented an opportunity for some younger guys maybe to get an opportunity that they wouldn't have gotten otherwise. And we've had some guys surprise us. We watch the guys, we know that they're pretty good, but the way they play in games may be different than practice. We got some gamers, and I really like that. I kind of like where we are. This past week, for example, we played a really strong Perry team, and they're battling the flu. I completely understand that, and they've got a Georgia commit that is an absolute stud that we did not see. But we went to Perry Tuesday, and we didn't play well. There's no other way around it. We didn't do anything well. We did not pitch well. We did not play defense well. We did not hit well. And then we played Wednesday, and we were a completely different team, and we played really well. They beat us 11-1 on Tuesday. We beat them 11-1 on Wednesday. And that's what you get when you're dealing with 15, 16, 17-year-old kids sometimes. So we're just striving to get some consistency. We are good enough to play with anybody in the state, maybe to beat anybody in the state. And we're also bad enough at times to lose to anybody in the state. So that's just kind of where we are early. we start region play tomorrow. I know it's Monday for us now. I don't think this airs until Thursday.
Right.
But it's this is where it starts to matter. You've known me for a long time. There may have been a time in my career 10, 15, 20 years ago that I really cared about my regular season record. Tim, I could give a rat's rear end what our regular season record is. All I care about now is winning playoff games, winning playoff series, and trying to advance as far as we can.
Well, and you know what, Chuck? The one thing I've always really respected about you is you never shied away, especially pre-conference, pre-region. You've always played teams that helped you get better, that probably on paper were better than Schley County.
Well, I am a firm believer that you cannot get better unless you play people that are better than you.
Yeah.
It does you absolutely no good. It makes mama happy. It makes daddy happy. It makes grandmama happy to go out and win 15-0 against somebody, but it doesn't make you a better team.
Right.
And you have to be able to deal with adversity. You've got to be able to go against pitchers that are better than you, and find a way to compete. Because when it gets to the playoffs, that's what you're going to run into, and you got to find a way to beat those guys. So I'd like to see those guys early in the season, so that we're not surprised by some velo, in May.
Chuck, as you look at your region, I know typically there's 2 or 3 teams in addition to Schley County that you always have to be concerned about. As you look at the region this year, who are those teams that may end up toward the top?
It's the same teams. It's Taylor, it's Crawford, it's Marion. A few years ago it was Brookstone and Pacelli, but they've split us up now. I really miss playing Brookstone. I'm not gonna lie about that. That was Vince Massey was the head coach, and he's a really good friend of mine. And I loved battling against him. I think we're about 500 against each other, over the years. But there was a time where it meant something to win region. Then we win 9 straight. And 7 of those was after they had split public-private. And no disrespect, because I'm sure there are people that are going to watch this podcast. There is no disrespect against anybody in our region, but we've had some really good teams. And so we were able to just kind of roll through the region, and it was expected to win region. Well, last year was the first year we haven't won region in 9 years.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a gut check. It was you can't just put the jersey on and expect to win. That there are other guys that work hard too. And Crawford had a really good team last year, and they've got Coach Puckett has done a fantastic job there for years. He and I have gone head to head, and Coach Moncrief took over the past couple of years, and he's a younger guy. I got a lot of respect for him. I like the guy a lot. Like he's a good dude. And he had 2 dogs on the mound last year. We should have beaten them in game 1. And we made a few mistakes late defensively. I had Brody Smith pitching for us. He was doing a fantastic job, and we should have won game 1. We didn't. It kind of got away from us. And game 2, we didn't compete really well against their stud on the mound that threw really hard. And that was disappointing. But this year, and again, I've got a lot of Crawford on my mind tonight. We have them tomorrow night, but Crawford's, they're not as good as they were last year. But it doesn't mean that they're not good.
Right.
They've got some guys that can swing it. They've got a couple of guys we're going to see. I'm guessing we're going to see Prater tomorrow. We're still not going to see this until Thursday, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He's a pretty good dude on the mound. So the way the region works now is we play everybody the same week, as opposed to 5 years ago where you would play like once through the schedule, and then you the second half of the season you play them again. Well, now we play each other team. We play each team twice the same week. So we get Crawford week 1, Taylor week 2. And the region could be decided in 2 weeks. And that's crazy to think that the season's just started.
Yeah.
And that the region could already be decided. But that's just kind of how the schedule rolled for us. I don't like it personally, but that's just how your cards were drawn. Taylor is, I think Taylor's the favorite.
Yeah. Clay's done a good job up there, hasn't he?
Clay has done a fantastic job. Like it's Clay. If I had stayed one more year at Taylor, I would have coached Clay. But I left for Schley having absolutely no idea what I was walking into. I think we had a podcast a couple of years ago where I talked about, how I got to Schley, but I came to Schley for the purpose of getting Madison at school because we had heard how great of a school system Schley County was. And I was putting baseball on the back burner for me, trying to further her education.
Right.
And my last year at Taylor, we beat Schley 15-0 and 17-2. And then we go 22 years and I haven't lost to Taylor.
Wow.
Until last year.
Yeah.
And we played at their place the first week. Rylan Connor, and I love that kid. My goodness. He tore his MCL or meniscus one playing in the game the previous week, and his last at bat before he had surgery, knee brace on, everything, he was semi-cleared. Dad cleared him, so I'm going to go with that.
Yeah.
And I pinch hit him in the 7th inning, and he ties the game, and we ended up winning it. Like, I about get teary-eyed now thinking about it. That was a phenomenal night. Yeah. And then they came to us on Friday and beat us like we stole something from them. I mean, it was embarrassing. And they celebrated like they hadn't beat Schley County in 22 years. And that's stuck in my mind. I want next week to get here so bad I can't stand it.
Yeah. But
I can't lose focus on that Crawford's a good team and has a really good coach.
You got it.
But Taylor just knocked off. I say they just knocked off. Second game of the season, they beat Lanier County, who was the 2-time defending state champs.
And good again, I hear.
Everybody back.
Yeah, I was going to say they're really good again.
They are loaded. And I left practice that day about 5:30, and I booked it to Taylor County, and I got there in the bottom of the first inning, and I watched it, and there was nothing fluke about that. Taylor won that game. They played again a couple of weeks later, and Lanier's got a dude. I mean, they've actually got a couple of dudes, but they got one that's a lefty that's pretty serious. He's low mid-90s lefty, and he's a difference maker. But the guys, we faced that Lanier County team 2 years ago, and they gave us, we won game 1, should have won game 2, should have won game 3, and didn't. And they went and won state. And you start looking at, we've got 2 rings, and I'm so thankful to Jesus that we've got 2 rings, but we could have 3.
That's right.
And we just didn't finish the drill that day. And all those guys are back. And for Taylor to go and beat them and earn that win, you got to give Taylor a ton of respect.
Absolutely. Hey, let me move forward. We're talking with Coach Chuck Cheek from Schley County. Want to thank our friends over at Carter's Fried Chicken for being one of our sponsors. They are located at 206 Tripp Street in Americus. Owner Mike Shaddles and his staff have been feeding Southwest Georgia for more than 30 years. They offer daily lunch specials that include baked or fried chicken, home fresh vegetables, and the best desserts in town, and they do it all at an affordable price. Thanks again to Mike Shaddles and Carter's Fried Chicken for sponsoring this segment of the Integrity Sports Podcast. Chuck, you just mentioned a couple of the things I wanted to talk about next, maybe hit on this briefly, but when I think about Class A Division II baseball, there's some teams that pretty much every year they're in the mix. You mentioned one of those in Lanier County. You've got folks like Wilcox County that have been pretty strong for several years. ECI, I know, is a team you have faced deep in the playoffs several times. Treutlen County for a long time was good. Lake Oconee Academy is kind of one of those teams that has shown up a lot lately. When you look at the teams that are picked to be in the top, how does Schley County stack up to those teams this year?
Kind of depends on which team shows up. I mentioned Jekyll and Hyde earlier. I told the guys the other night, Wednesday night, we can play with anybody. We can also lose to anybody, and so that's something that we've got to fix. It all starts with pitching, and I am relying on some freshmen right now, and I think we'll get to that in a minute. But you're dealing with 14, 15-year-old kids. Like I'm 53 now. Like I'm getting old. But you're counting on teenagers to perform the way that you want them to perform. And it doesn't always happen. It's not that they're not trying, they're trying really hard. It's the difference between a senior and a freshman. Getting back to the basketball conversation we had earlier, I've had out of necessity, we've had to throw some freshmen to the fire, and they have flourished. Let me rephrase how I'm saying it. Not necessarily surprised. We know that they've got talent, but they've done a really good job, and they have earned their opportunity to start games. And I've got a senior coming off of some shoulder issues. I've got another senior who probably deserves more innings, but I've got some issues going on with catcher with an injury with an elbow that I'm having to use that senior pitcher to catch a lot.
Yeah.
And I want to use him on the mound, but I got to have a catcher.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where that is, but I don't know. As far as teams go, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, here's one of the things I really want you to dig deep on is you talk about these young kids, and that leads into my next question. You've got such a good feeder program there. You got a middle school program that's not your typical middle school program. You guys really focus on teaching those kids what they need to know from a baseball IQ standpoint at the middle school level. So you're more than just a great team. Schley County has built a pretty good program. Talk a little bit about that middle school program.
So it all starts with Travis Bishop and Richard McCorkle. In fact, we got done a little bit early today. Our middle school was playing Marion in baseball, so we had to get off the field, and that's a little frustrating at some point. But I was watching those guys and just listening to Coach McCorkle and Coach Bishop. They do such a good job trying to prepare those guys for us. And I know that we're alike. I am so blessed to have the coaching staff that I have. We expect a lot out of the guys, and they do a really good job getting them prepared that when they come to us, we're not having to teach as many basics as maybe some coaches have to. They understand, you just mentioned IQ. They have a pretty decent baseball IQ when they get to us. And so it makes our job a little bit easier. They got some guys in the 8th grade that are pretty good that are going to help us. We've got a pretty good group coming. We've got a 6th, 7th grade group that is pretty talented that's coming our way. And, that's something that, that I'm personally looking forward to. They've had a lot of success in the GRPA and whatever associations that they're playing with. So there's some talent coming, and I'm looking forward to that. They got some talent this on the team right now. They got some good pitchers. They got some guys that can swing it. But Travis and Richard do a really good job of cultivating their baseball ability and helping them prepare for high school.
Our show today is also brought to you by Marty McDonald State Farm, located at 925 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. Go by and see Marty, Mary Lynn, Blake, or any of their staff. Let them discuss your insurance needs with you. They can even do the famous discount double check to make sure you are receiving all of the savings that are available to you. Give Marty a call at 928-3686 or look him up on Facebook. Thanks again to Marty McDonald. And remember, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. You mentioned your coaching staff. We talked about Travis and Richard down at the middle school. Tell me about your coaching staff at the varsity level and what their responsibilities are.
So I'll start with Jody Sellers. And I love Jody like a brother. He's a special guy to me. He was Abby's head softball coach.
Yeah. And
I would like to think that I'm Abby's favorite coach ever, and I'm not.
Yeah.
She loves JoJo, as she calls him JoJo. She loves JoJo so much. Like he was phenomenal for her, and I don't know how much that skews my thoughts of him. I don't know. When I was dating Tara Ward many years ago, her little brother Brad was best friends with Jody Sellers.
Yeah.
And so I've known him since he was in the 2nd grade. And for him to be my pitching coach now, like it's just kind of neat for me. And Abby had a fantastic senior year.
Yeah.
And like her boyfriend was over the other night, and we're showing videos of, because he hadn't seen any of her videos of her hitting, and he was like, "Abby, you were good." And I was like, "She was really good." And I said, "And that guy over there was a lot to do with that." You know, and it's, I told him a long time ago, like, it's, Tim, you coach.
Yeah.
It is hard to turn because we're all egotistical at some point. We think we know what we're doing.
Yeah. And
to turn that over to somebody else is hard. And I would say, I mean, most of Abby's swing is mine. I'm gonna claim it, and she'll, whatever. But there were times that I said, "All right, Jody, she is way too comfortable with me. I want you to go make her uncomfortable." And she wanted to please him so bad that she would work harder for him than she would for me.
Yeah.
So there's a underlying, I love me some JoJo. Okay. But I hadn't had Jody. Jody was reassigned by our administration. He's coaching basketball now. And Earl Dupree, and I hope he watches this because I could not stand that joker when he was playing for Hawkinsville.
Yeah.
Because he beat us. And I had some teams that were pretty good, but I'm pretty sure that he beat us every time that he pitched against us. And I was like, that little arrogant joker, I just didn't like him. And then we hired him.
Yeah.
And he has been such a blessing to our baseball team. His wife's been coaching with us for a while. His father-in-law was our pastor for the football team. It's but Earl's become a good friend of mine. He has taken over. It was basically I did all the hitting preseason, and you can argue that I didn't do a good job. That's fine, but he's done a phenomenal job with our pitchers because Jody was at basketball and Gordy was at basketball / watching his kid play. I'll get to him in a minute. And so I've got complete trust in Earl Dupree. Like he really did a fantastic job with our pitchers this year, getting them ready for our season. And we didn't have Juju because of basketball. We were really slow with Jake because of his shoulder issues. Tate was at basketball. We had Jackson Wilder coming back, and Jackson's been great for us. Like he's kind of my Swiss Army knife. I've started him and he was fantastic. I bring him in relief and he's fantastic. But Earl's taken these two freshmen and really shaped and molded them. One of the guys has a ballistic arm, like Jesus reached down and touched his right arm when he was born. It's one of those kind of kids. Yeah. And he didn't get to pitch a whole lot on the middle school last year because he couldn't throw strikes. Like it's there. The velo's there. He is good. But he just doesn't have the consistency with the strike zone. And Coach Dupree has done a phenomenal job. And he threw a game Wednesday night that was, Tim, I don't know that I've ever had a freshman throw a game like that. And
that's impressive.
I've had Brett Ustry, I've had Blake Howell, I've had Chase Patrick. Yeah. That's three really big names in our pitching history, and he touched some numbers that we've never touched before as far as freshman goes.
Yeah.
And so Earl has, like, he has been a godsend for me this year because it's just been me and him, and I have had to rely on him a ton. Gordy Bonner was the guy I hated for a few years. He was an umpire. That was a little bit of a joke there.
Love Gordy Bonner, though. When I heard you had added him to the staff, I thought he's kind of that guy that at times when you need a break, he can make everybody laugh, and he just keeps the dugout loose.
Gordy's one of my best friends on this earth. He was even that when he was an umpire. There's a funny story that he made a call. I did not agree with his call. Abby Grace was probably 12 years old, and she came home and she said, "Mama, I don't think Daddy and Coach Gordy are friends anymore." And it was like as soon as the game's over, all of that's done. But Gordy, when I asked him to help me a couple of years ago when William left to go to South, and that was hard because William's my guy. I mean, he and I have been together since day one, and he's like a brother to me. But we were short a guy. Agreement was that he would coach. I mean, he would umpire basketball throughout the playoffs. And Parks was starting middle school baseball, and I've told the guys it's like Saturday we got JV games Saturday, and I'm gonna coach JV so that Jody can go watch Sutton play. And I don't ever want to put what we do in front of family or ahead of family or whatever. That's just
absolutely
just not going to do it. It is extremely important to me, but it's not more important than family.
Yeah.
But Gordy's one of my best friends. We go to the beach together. We're going to go to Jamaica together this summer. Our wives are best friends, and having him with me, sometimes he can be like, he can give me a little insight, a little wisdom to calm me down a little bit sometimes. And I'm very appreciative of that.
Yeah. Chuck, let me mention our last sponsor, Custom Auto Sales. They're located at 907 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. Their owners, Lance and Jessica Stick, they've been fixing people's rides for 25 years. Now they want to help you buy one. They've added major banks and better financing so that they can handle any credit situation. You can reach Custom Auto Sales at 924-5558 or check them out online at www.customperformanceauto.com. Go by and see Custom Auto Sales. They're loaded for tax season. A lot of great cars on the lot. I know Lance and Jessica would appreciate your business. Chuck, let's wrap this thing up. We got about 4 or 5 more minutes, and you and I have a history of doing some emotional things toward the end. I don't want this to be emotional, but I do want it to be real. You've got your oldest daughter's now married. Madison's married. She's got a child. That's the best thing in the world, I know. You've got Tyler, your middle child, that's already graduated from college. He's now teaching and coaching. And Abby Grace is off at college. You and Tara are now empty nesters. What's it like for the first baseball season as an empty nester?
I know I worry a lot more about baseball than I used to.
Yeah.
I've got nothing else to do. You know, it's Lord, I was talking to somebody the other day and they brought up mine and your post-game Trutling conversation when you snuck my dad up behind me.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good stuff. But no, it's great. Like it's, you know, you spend so much time worrying, and you're pretty much in the same situation. You spend so much time worrying about your children, and then they're not there, and so you get to kind of reconnect with each other.
Yeah.
You know, and it's as crazy as it sounds. I think Tara and I are closer right now than we've ever been. You know, and it's just a fantastic thing. You know, I come home and we get to spend time together. We don't have to worry about if somebody's done their homework or if there's practice or if there's dance classes, or we just get to spend time together. I do have way more time to watch Game Changer. I've got way more time to scout now. And so that adds a worry to my brain. Sometimes, you know, homework and taking the girls to dance or taking Tyler to rec practice, whatever, would keep my mind off worrying about a game. And now I get worried about what teenage boys are going to do. But that's a great spot. You mentioned Madison, and you're not going to get me, but it's, you know, my first granddaughter was named after me.
Yeah.
And that blows my mind. You know, she's named Charlie.
Yeah.
And I love that girl. Like it's so special.
I'm telling you, Chuck, people tell you that your whole life. When you get to be a grandparent, there's no love like that. And you just can't imagine it until it happens.
That's exactly right. I remember Rusty Tundy talking to us about it when Josh had his first child, and then Tyler had theirs, and Rusty was like, "Man, you have no idea what it's going to be like." Or Rodney Ussery was telling me about his grandkids, and I'm like, "Yeah, you know," and you're like, "Whatever," but then you hold your grandkid, and you know, and like now we go to Columbus, and like Saturday morning we went to go spend the morning with Madison, and you walk in the door and she'll turn 1 in May, and like she looks at you and you see the recognition and she's so happy to see you, and it just, nothing else matters.
That's right.
You know, they were like, Tara was talking about what we're going to get her for her birthday, and I'm like, we're getting a Easton Ghost Unlimited, you know, like.
Well, listen, Chuck, this has been a lot of fun. I always enjoy having you on. Congratulations on a great career, what you're doing up at Schley County. And I hope we can do this again come playoff time, and let's make another run at it.
Yes, sir.
And we want to thank you for making the Integrity Sports Podcast part of your weekly routine. Please like and share this video with your friends. Thanks again to all of our sponsors: Harper's Tree and Stump Removal, Carter's Fried Chicken, Marty McDonald State Farm Insurance, and Custom Auto Sales. For my good friend Chuck Cheek, I'm Tim Estes. Thanks for watching. So long, everybody.